a bit racist, you know?
I'm racist?
Yeah, you don't like me because I'm white.
I don't like you because you almost got me killed and you're annoying.
Well, that's basically everybody's reason to hate me.
Yeah, I wonder why.
But you also hate me because I'm white.
Oh.
Look, man, we can't let Simon win. We've got to find a way to stop him.
It's alright, he's over there.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. There he is. Aha!
Oh, good shot. Well done. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to my review of Die Hard with a Vengeance, the third film of the Die Hard series, and this is a really fun, really enjoyable, really entertaining movie with a really good story. So, yeah, is it perfect? Not 100%, but I still think it's a very strong film. So, let's take a look. The film opens with New York just normal people going around everyday lives. It's a normal day until a building blows up. The police then get a call from Simon, the main villain of the film, played by Jeremy Irons, who then tells them that unless John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, does what he's told, then Simon will detonate more bombs. And so McClane is sent to walk around Harlem with a sign saying "I hate niggers" on it, which is not a good thing. However, before McClane is killed by a band or a group of black men, he is saved by Zeus, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and together the two are then made to go on a bit of a wild goose chase whilst trying to stop some more bomb explosions across the city, whilst also trying to locate Simon. Meanwhile, Simon is actually planning a heist of the Federal Reserve with his army, basically his crew, and they're trying to steal all the gold, almost all the gold in the Federal Reserve. And it turns out that Simon is Hans Gruber's older brother, which means that he personally has a bit of a vendetta. He has a vendetta against McClane, and he's making him do all this as a bit of a side track, as a addition to his main plan, which is to rob the Federal Bank, whilst making it look like he's committing terrorism acts, and making him seem that he wants to get revenge on McClane, but in all honesty, he just wants McClane to suffer before eventually putting him out of his misery. And that's basically Die Hard with a Vengeance, and it's a really great movie. Great stuff. First of all, I think the story is really interesting with Simon Says angle having to get our heroes to go around stopping bombs and pretty much going on a wild goose chase, being a bit distracted. Although the real plot with the Federal Reserve is also really good, although it does slightly retread a bit of the first film, but considering the connection, I'm fine with that. I also have to say that it doesn't feel as die-hardy a film as the first two, probably due to the fact that they're running around New York City as opposed to trapped in a high-rise building or in an airport's terminal building. Whilst the stakes of the second film were a bit higher than the first. The third film, I'm not sure about the stakes. I suppose with the actual bombs themselves, it is quite big stakes. But with the fake bombs, there are some fake bombs which are part of this wild goose chase. Speaking of gooses, there are birds outside, not geese, just really annoying other ones. Shut up! So McClane and these bloody birds. McClane and Zeus have to go out, try and stop these bombs from blowing up, and it's all part of this elaborate wild goose chase, and the same with the school bomb scare. It's just all a smokescreen, a distraction for Simon and his crew to rob the federal bank, and I think that's a really clever idea. It's actually very clever. I also like how Zeus, Samuel L. Jackson, is added into the mix. He's a great third main character and a great help to McClane. Yeah, they have their arguments, they're not really fond of each other, and there is a bit of racism from both sides. I mean, Zeus feels racism coming from white people, and certainly earlier on in the film with the "I hate niggers" sign, certainly there is some racism towards the black people. However, there's also quite a lot of racism from Zeus and the black people towards white people. McClane even calls him out on it at one point. So, yeah, both sides can be a little bit racist to each other at times. So, I'll just let you know that both sides can be both a bit racist. It is 1995, so by this point, there would be racism against white people, and there'd still be some stupid people out there with racism towards black people, or in this case, a sick bastard trying to get the man who killed his brother pretty much mauled by black people in Harlem, who would take offence at someone wearing that type of sign. Which, fair enough, I suppose. Although I don't really find it acceptable for someone to be murdered just over a racial slur. Though I would understand them if they would like to take their anger out of him, but killing him, yeah, that's going a bit too far, guys. I know if someone said a racial slur to me, a white person, I would not want to kill them, no matter how bad it is, but I certainly would take my issues out of them. So, chill out, guys, chill out. I mean, yeah, go ahead and give him a beat up. Even though you don't know what's really going on, but go ahead and give him a beat up. But killing him is a bit too far. I mean, I understand why they're pissed, but killing him would be a bit too far. So moving away from that, yeah, it's basically a bit of a goose chase, smokescreen for the real plan, which is to steal the federal bank. And there is a lot of time in the middle that's dedicated to robbing the bank, and the twist does come about 46 minutes in. With the reveal that Hans Gruber is Simon's brother, and then shortly after that, we then get Simon and his gang robbing the bank, robbing the Federal Reserve. That takes about 10 minutes, I want to say, about 10 minutes for the whole sequence. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, that's where the twist comes in. However, McClane then realises this and soon starts pursuing them, and leading to some great action out in other parts of the city. I mean, there was some great action. I really liked the car chase through Central Park. That was pretty cool. That must have taken some time to work out. In fact, quite a lot of these scenes were probably filmed in New York City themselves and must have taken a bit of a while to film. Good job with it, though. Maybe some bits were filmed on sets, but certainly in the main But certainly when they had to go onto the streets, that would certainly have needed to take a bit more work. And I have to say the cast is all really good. Not just Willis, Irons and Jackson, but also some of the other villains, some of the other police officers. Zeus has two nephews who are also pretty fun in their scenes. And yeah, it's a pretty well cast film, and got a couple of good characters. There aren't any dickheads like the first two films who aren't the main villains, although there are the occasional twit who gets in the way, like this security guard at the subway station who's pointing a gun at Zeus, who at the phone, just because Zeus jumped over the barriers and didn't pay to go in, didn't pay the barriers. So just because Zeus jumps over the barriers and shouts at a guy to let him have the phone, a security guard feels the need to point a gun at him. He's not robbing a bank like he was in The Incredibles, which, fun fact, The Incredibles actually bases that scene where Mr. Freeze wants a cup of water based off this scene in Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's a nice tie-in with Samuel L. Jackson playing both characters. But unlike The Incredibles, where the cop thought Frozone, thought Frozone was going to thought Frozone was a thief. Not realizing who it really was, of course. But that scene, the cop thought he was a thief. In this scene, the cop just saw a man jump over a ticket barrier and shout at a guy to let him use the phone, and he's pointing a gun at him? Why? What does he think he is? Oh, that cop was an idiot. I wouldn't have minded if he got hit by the train when it exploded. I also think the bomb scare of the school does take a bit of a go on for a bit too long, but considering they had a lot of time to sort it all out, fair enough. They had a bit of a time gap to locate the school and eventually find the bomb, so fair enough. They were given a while of... it gave Simon's team a lot of time to rob the bank and get away. And eventually McClane tracks them down to north of the border. So I think I think they're in Canada now. So the Canadian and American police arrive in time to stop the baddies escaping, with McClane eventually taking out Simon and his girlfriend. P.S. This is the first film in the series to have a female villain / henchwoman in the film. There would be... The other two films would also have female villains / henchwomen in the series, but this is the first time we actually get one. Although the original book that the first film was based on did have female terrorists in that, but the film only had male. So, and same for the second film. But the third film is the first time we see a female henchwoman / villainess / terrorist, although she's the only one, and I think that could be the same for the following two films. I might be wrong. Certainly for 4 they might have more than one. But yeah, so at last we got a female villain. I wonder if the 6th film could have a female main villain, perhaps. I mean, then again, it did take the James Bond films 17 years after the first main female villain in From Russia with Love, and 17 films later, they had their second main female villain with Electra King in The World's Not Enough. And whilst I would consider Miranda Frost in Die Another Day the second main villain of that film, she wasn't the main villain of that one. There have been other female henchwomen in that series, but not as main as those three, especially not Klebb and King. But that's just an example. Oh, itchy nose. Sorry about that. So, on the whole, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Great story, great action. Could be a little bit short. I mean, maybe they had quite a lot of stuff with the school, but I think it's still handled really well. I think it's all done brilliantly and has great stuff. And the character chemistry between Willis and Jackson is great. And Irons is a great villain. He's probably the second best villain of the series after Rickman. I wasn't really so worried about the villains of the last film. I think there was too many. That's the problem with Die Hard 2, is that there was too many villains. I mean, there's about 3 key villains in this film, but there's a lot of attention on Simon Gruber, whilst there was a lot of attention on Colonel Stewart in the last film, but whilst he was the main villain, he was sort of working with the dictator, drug lord guy. And you also had the army captain guy who came in, turned out to be a twist villain. So that one, their attention was a bit all over the place with their villains. Here, I think that despite having 3 key villains and lots of henchmen, their focus was very focused on Gruber, which sort of did let the other two a little bit down. One male, one female, who is Gruber's girlfriend, but they still handled really well with what they do have. So, yeah, that's cool. And, yeah, great. It's a great film, and also great action as well, of course. It's Die Hard. You'd expect great action with any film, even the weaker ones, which we will be getting to in a while. In a short while, depending. So, anyway, Die Hard with a Vengeance, a great movie. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Find it a little less of a Die Hard film than Die Hards 1 and 2, but I still think it's a very strong action film that certainly lives up to the Die Hard name of its predecessors. and I find it a really enjoyable and really entertaining film. And yeah, when I first saw these films, I did consider it my second favourite of the series. But after rewatching it, I'm not sure. Now it's back in competition with Die Hard 2, so I might have to make a final decision by the ranking. I think this one's just such a great film. I am slightly kind of expecting that one to be a little bit more, but 2 did come very close, I will say. That one did have the dickish airport security chief, so maybe this one might be slightly better because that character wasn't in this film. Yeah, P.S. No character from the previous 2 films makes an appearance in this film besides McClane. Also a flashback to Hans Gruber from the first film, but he doesn't make any new footage appearance. And whilst we do hear Holly's voice, Bonnie Butella does not get credited, and nor does the character physically appear on screen. So besides that, it's just McClane. But to be honest, I would like to see Jackson return in the 6th film, because I think Zeus was a great character in this installment. So I would be happy if they plan to bring him back in film 6. I would be happy. Same if they would bring back Hal from 1 and 2, that would be fun. Or that hacker kid from this 4th film, that'd be cool. Ooh, maybe that hacker kid from film 4 does eventually end up with Lucy. Speaking of film 4, we'll be getting onto that soon. But quick last thing to shout out about Die Hard with a Vengeance. It is, outside of the United States, it's actually the first installment not to be distributed by 20th Century Fox. It was a Fox film in the United States, but outside of the United States, because of the producer, the film is actually released by Touchstone Pictures and Cineguri. And of course, Touchstone is, and also Cineguri was, part of Disney. So this is technically, outside the United States, a Disney film. And that's even before Disney bought 20th Century Fox recently, a few months ago, which technically then does mean that all 5 Die Hard films are now Disney material, and so will film 6. But this one, outside of the United States, was technically a Disney film before Disney bought Fox. So yeah, Die Hard 3 beats its fellow 4 films and US release by about nearly 25 years. Yep, so yeah, the next film, of course, will be distributed by Disney under 20th Century Fox, most likely, unless they decide to just release it as a Disney film. Either way, it doesn't matter. They're all owned by Disney now, so yeah. I just wanted to bring that back. Of course, the other 4 films are 20th Century Fox full and full, with Disney ownership now following the merger. Anyway, that's it for Die Hard with a Vengeance, a great film. Next time we'll be taking a look at the 4th Die Hard film, Die Hard 4.0, or as it is in the United States, Live Free or Die Hard. I don't know why they decided to call it Die Hard 4.0 and just not Die Hard 4. Or just leave it as Live Free and Die Hard. I don't know, but over here in the UK and outside of America, it's Die Hard 4.0. So that's next. It'll be called Die Hard 4.0 in the review because that's what we have it over here in the UK. But of course I will mention and also add in the description that it's also known as Die Hard 4.0. Same thing with Die Hard 2 also being known as Die Hard 2 Die Harder. So anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel.
And it turns out that Simon is in fact and it turns out that Simon is Hans Gruber's older brother. And it turns out that Simon is Hans Gruber's However, I also like how Zeus, Simon Leach, he's a great help. He's a great third play. With us a little bit, or in this case, a really evil. Although, calm down, people. Although whether I'd find it acceptable to kill someone over is maybe pushing the envelope. Although whether it's although I would say, we wouldn't want to do that. We wouldn't want to do that to you. We wouldn't want to do that to you if you were to say something. I know if someone, and the same would be coming, and that's not just, and it's not just black. And as I mentioned, it's not just black. Screw it. Anyway, hang on. No dickheads who aren't main villains because, Rosa Klebb was in From Russia with Love, and whilst I would consider Rosamund Pike's and I'm not just, but they would occasionally swap, but he was working, which we'll be getting onto in the next, which we will get to in not too long, which won't be long, if it's third, then my opinion of this series is that it's getting weaker each film, sadly. Although I do consider Die Hard, A Good Day to Die Hard, more of a Die Hard film than Die Hard 4, it is of course weaker as an actual film, and thus would probably be my least favourite, whilst Die Hard 4 would probably be fourth. Speaking of which, next time, in the meantime, 2 and 3 are kind of fighting it out for second place at the moment. So see how that goes. Still put. Maybe he's going to. Maybe that hacker kid maybe that hacker kid does end up with Mary. Is it Mary? Lucy. Speaking, and we'll be getting on to. So next time we'll be looking. Anyway, that's it with. Same thing with Die Hard 2, also being known as Die Hard.
Dude, you know, you're a bit... Look, man, Simon is going to enjoy his million. I don't like you because... That is a bit racist, sorry. But even so... Oh, where's... It's alright, I found him, he's over there. Ish, somewhere. He's somewhere around here. It's alright. Ah, shit! Ah, fuck you, McLean. Fuck you. I'm doing that again. Take 2.